Okay, so I've cast on 21 magnificent stitches. Aren't they beautiful? So the whole idea is to knit 3, purl 3 all the way across. So to knit, you go in from the front to the back, you wrap your yarn over, you pull it under to make a loop. Now the differences between the cast on and this in knitting is you slide your loop off of the left needle, and so you'll have one loop on your right needle and one loop on your left needle. So you knit the second one. Knit the second one. Then you repeat again to knit the third one. Okay, so now you notice you have 3 knit stitches on your left needle. Now keep in mind for the knit 3, purl 3 scarf, you're going to it's going to be a little difficult to see the pattern for the first couple of rows until until you have enough length so that it starts to smush together and looks all cute and everything. So to purl, you pull your yarn, you loop your yarn over so that it is on the same side as you. It's between you and your knitted work, okay? To purl, you come in through the front loop, you wrap your yarn around, and then you pull it, you go through the other side. So I'll show you again. You purl, you go through the front loop, you wrap your yarn over, pull it down a little bit, you go through under to the other side, and then you pull your yarn off. Sorry if it's hard to see, I'm trying, I promise. So you go through the front, yarn over, and pull it through so that you go through the back. So now you have 3 knit stitches and 3 purl stitches. Now if you can see the difference between the purl stitches and the knit stitches, the knits they look different in the front. The purl stitches have this loop around the front of the stitch. Now when you get to the other side, the stitches that you purled on this side going this direction, they'll look like knit stitches on the other side. So the only difference between a knit and a purl stitch is which side the little lump is facing, basically. So next you'll knit the next 3 stitches. So to knit you go front to back, and to purl you'll go back to front. It's basically how it works. I'll just kind of quickly go through this so that we can get to the next row. Now the reason you cast on 21 is because you want to start with knitting and you want to end with knitting. So if you want a wider scarf or narrower scarf, you just adjust the number you cast on and just kind of, I had to count it out, 3 knit, 3 purl, 3 knit, 3 purl to figure out that 21 would end with a knit and begin with a knit. But so basically you could subtract or add 6 to that and I believe you'd get the right number. Okay. So there's your first rows completed. See, isn't it beautiful? Alright, so here you can see kind of clearly the knits are, they look different from the purls. It'll be easier to see whenever there's a few more rows, but the purls have these little bumps on them. So what you do now, and this is in your right hand, all your stitches are on it, you just turn it around, have it on your left hand. Now, one thing I'd like to note is make sure you don't knit with your tail. Make sure that you pick up the actual yarn that's going to the ball, because it kind of sucks when you start knitting with the tail. Okay, so since we're on the other side and you're trying to create ribbing, you want the stitches to be the same. So because we've turned around and we're actually looking at the wrong side now, you're going to purl your purls and knit your knits. So you're going to purl 3, knit 3, purl 3, knit 3, etc. So that you're doing the opposite of what you did before, so that when you get a finished product, it'll have ribbing, which will be pretty. So you purl, make sure you have the yarn on the front side, and so you purl 3. Sorry that my thumb's in the way, I keep trying to remember to move it. You purl 3, switch the yarn over to the other side, and knit 3. And then switch the yarn over, purl 3. Now, I normally do this with fuzzier yarn, but because it makes it look cuter in my opinion, but I figured that the cotton would be easier to see the individual stitches with. So this is actually a remnant from the hoodie I'm making. So anyway, I would never use this for or right now I would not use it for a scarf because I think fuzziness is cuter. My opinion may change. Anyway, okay, so we're knitting. Now on the even numbered rows, you're going to end with purling. On the odd numbered rows, like 1, 3, 5, you're going to begin and end with knitting. So, alright, and I'm purling the last, purling the last stitch. And just switch it to your other hand. Since you're knitting, you want to make sure that the yarn will be behind the work. So you just start knitting. I'm going to fast forward it now to a couple of rows in so you can see what it should look like. Okay, so I've done probably, I don't know, like 6 rows. So you can see here the knit, it's a lot easier to see the knits and the ribs now. I mean, sorry, the knits and the purls. So you see the knits make the cute little upside down V looking thing. And the purls make the little bumpy things. And so this is the right side. When you turn it around, what were knits on the other side look like purls on this side. So basically, I mean, it's the same stitch, it just depends on which side you're looking at. So that's the difference. You can kind of see it starting to pucker a little bit, I guess I call it. See, puckering. Probably another 4 or 5 rows and it'll start to squish up. I'll show you the one I'm making for myself so you can see how it's squished up together, and that's what ribbing will do. It eventually will just squish up. So, yeah. One other thing I wanted to mention, just so you don't freak out. At the end of a row, you're going to see this, whoops, it would help if you could actually see it. You'll see this little loop thing. Whenever you start the next row, that loop's going to get kind of tied up. See, so like you see the others are tied up, so don't worry about it being there. Don't think something's wrong or anything. And so you just continue rows 1 and 2 over and over and over and over until you get the length you want. I find it usually takes about 2 skeins of yarn, depending on what you want to use. I used Bernat's alpaca, I believe, for a maroon scarf I made for my sister-in-law, and it took 2 skeins to make it. So, like I said, if you want it wider or narrower, as long as you count it out to figure out that you begin and end on knit, it'd be fine. So you could do 3, 6, 9, 12. You could do 15, or you could do 24, 27 if you wanted it wider. So that is the end of Laura's knit 3 purl scarf, knit 3 purl 3 scarf demonstration. Ta-da!